Memory has its own way of teaching us. Some lessons stay there, breathing softly, waiting for the day we can finally look at them without trembling. Some arrive with tenderness, others with blows, and sometimes they turn as a scenes that insist that comes back again and again, asking to be told. This story is born from one of those scenes, a childhood march, a report card that wages like a destiny, and a little girl who didn't know she was dyslexic but understand that march could be an executioner. Even so, in the midst of the fear, there were small hands capable of saving an entire day, teaching me that fear is not defeat. It is a company taken by the hand, invited to play, and only then does it fade. This piece named The Report Card. March was already well underway, swollen like a belly about to give birth to the school report cards. Those 10 months that marked the rhythm of student life. Despite the eternal spring, the Caracas sun rose wavering like a tricolor flag in the courtyard, shimmering over the tiles and the whitewashed wall of the school. The girls, lined up in formation, looked like a small army of braid and bows, white socks and school shoes like Mary Jane's loafer, or like me, black leather orthopedic boots. They whispered with the uncontainable childhood joy that burst out without permission, laughter bouncing off the hallways and mixing with the smell of pencil, shaving crayon, notebooks, books, and occasional romance novels smugly into a backpack or satchel. There were also quieter girls, the kind who wait in silence for the right moment to go up the stairs, hugging their books, ready to begin as if they already knew that life demands pauses. From the entrance of elementary building, the mothers, the young nun, full of vitality to command the hurricane's girl, watched the scenes with that blend of firmness, softness only they could hold. Their cream-colored habit barely moved with the breeze, and when they raised a hand, the murmur folded itself like a falling curtain. Then the ascent began, rigorously ordered, safe, always ritual. Each girl climbed the steps knowing that behind the discipline, an entire world awaited them. The green chalkboard, the chalk, the reading primer, the line of recess, life itself. And that day, the report card. The stare fell heavy on report cards day. I lost my hearing and could only listen to the frantic beating of my heart. For many, it was a mere formality, just another little booklet to tuck into the manila folder, the backpack, or the satchel. But for me, it was a torment. Report card days were my worst nightmare. I pinched my arm, my legs, the palm of my hand, as if I could wake up myself from that thick dream. Thick like bitter mud, a quicksand with no way out. It was real, too real. I already knew my grades barely held on the floor. I didn't need to see the numbers. I sensed them. I carried them in my stomach like stone. That small booklet with blue cardboard edges felt like it would bite my hand with the irony of the condemned prisoner who would be mercilessly executed that afternoon. It was my passport to hell, because the report card wasn't just a sheet of paper inside that blue booklet. I was a Benedict, a mirror reflecting the phrases I already knew by heart. She can read, she doesn't understand, she doesn't want, she's just lazy. And still I climbed the stairs. A little girl in the spotless uniform, white socks, shiny orthopedic boots, and a heart that waited as if it carried the entire year inside it, heavier than silence leading me to that slaughterhouse. I couldn't breathe. I didn't think I could endure what awaited me at home. That hidden dyslexia had not yet revealed itself, but it tormented me anyway. It already marked me like a silent shadow, a secret I didn't yet know how to name, but one that pushed me toward the abyss every time report card days arrived. Once inside the classroom, all of us stand beside our desks. The mother counselor lead in morning prayer to begin the day's work. The teacher arrived with a bundle of blue booklets in her arms, ready to hand out the month's results. On the floor below, one grade below mine, my cousin Imeldita was also receiving her report card. My cousin Imeldita had always been a character in my life story. She had that impossible mix of boldness and joy, a spark that didn't go out even when life dealt her blows that would have broken any other child. Defiant, opinionated, with a laugh that seemed to challenge the whole world, she walked through the school as if she knew something that the rest of the girls didn't. And I was always her number one fan. My mother called her the Queen of Scotland, not for elegance or lineage, but out of pure Venezuelan observation. Every time she came to pick us up, my little sister Imeldita and me, I will shoot out as a speed of light, dragging my little sister by the hand so that Cecilia wouldn't have to wait a single minute in the chaos of traffic, heat, and hurry mothers doing school runs. But Imeldita took up 20 minutes to appear. She descended the stairs as if a paradigm before her subjects, an imaginary crowd of fans, and invisible people who applaud her arrival. And my mother, simply stating the obvious, would say, "There comes the Queen of Scotland." Because of my last name, I was one of the first to receive my grace. With horror, I wouldn't open the report card to avoid further torment. I believed magic could fix everything, that somehow those grades will improve as the hours pass. But by the end of the day, I discovered, frustrated, that it wasn't true. After the distribution, regular classes resumed with the parade of teacher and mother counselor until recess. We spent long stretches reviewing homework, correcting exercises, going over mistakes, and then moving on to the next lesson. Just then, the bell rang and the whispery came back to life in the classroom. The girls rushed down the stairs to the canteen to buy sweet sandwich or empanadas, accompanied by juices, milk, or milkshakes, to bright that well-earned time of childhood confined within that house of learning. While other girls talk about recess, romance novels, who they liked, or what game they will play in the afternoon, I could only hear the beating of my own fear, an ancient fear that beat bigger than me, bigger than the school, bigger than March. I had no choice but to sit on a bench without the desire to open my lunchbox with the gloss gay of a slaughter lamb and think about the ordeal awaiting me when I got home. Why? If I gave everything I had and still couldn't manage a decent grade, what else could I do? They were numbers that see me to cry for help underwater, written in red ink, and barely one or two managed to stay afloat to the disappointment of not reaching the average. The only heroes in my grades were art and craft, but for my mother those were field subjects that mean nothing. I wasn't enough, and I began to cry in silence. Suddenly, that girl with straight hair and playful gaze appeared in front of me. "Angela, let's go to play." It was my cousin Imeldita. I told her I didn't want to, but she'd insist. "Don't be silly. It's just I got bad grades, and when I get home, they are going to spank me." "Don't be silly." "Yes, Emil, because of the report card they will." She lifted her shoulder lightly with that mix of bravery and spirit that was her alone. "So what? I got bad grades too, and they're going to spank me too, but that will be this afternoon. Right now is recess." Then Imeldita grabbed my hand and pulled me toward the courtyard, as if fear could wait a little longer, and I understood without words that sometimes life hurts the same but not at the same time, and that in those small pauses, in that game she offered me, there was a way to keep living, even if only for a recess. In that childhood, I learned to breathe between one fear and the next. And I also understood something else, that I was not usually spanked for anything. I was obedient girl, the quiet one, the one who didn't cause trouble, the model child, as adults said. But that didn't save me from fear. Fear still sat beside me, breathed on my neck, accompanied me in every red number. Years later, I understood that this little girl wasn't lazy or dumb. She was just a child trying to survive a world that didn't know how to read her, a dyslexia no one saw, not even me. Today I know that Imeldita's gestures was my first lesson in resistance, that even in the midst of fear, a child can choose a moment of joy. And sometimes that moment is enough to keep going, because fear is not defeat. It is a company and playing, even if only for a recess, is something the only way not to break. I hope you did enjoy this piece.